Let's just take a breath together, everyone. Let's take a breath together. Silence your phones. Good morning, Joanne. You know, I've been asking myself, there's a couple different things that I've been asking what to come, like which direction to go. So as we come together, let's just join together and bring ourselves together in breath. Just take that deep breath. See, I needed that yawn of taking that deep breath. Breath is so important to us. And sometimes we forget about that when things happen in our life that can take us out. I've had those experiences over the last 7 days. Some really triggering experiences. Those of you that are new to me, I'm Tammy Lee, a multifaceted bridge to the multi-dimensions that we traverse through them externally and internally to help bring back your fragmented soul pieces, to find where you're at, to heal those aspects of you. There's no good and bad, right or wrong. Those aspects of you that you think that maybe did something that other people might deem wrong. However, we are the creators. We are the creators of our world. And with that, we've lived both sides of it. You know, I have really dug deep in these last 3 years. But when I first heard this idea of, gosh, probably 10 years ago, that I was molested so I was molested in this lifetime more than once more by different perpetrators. Okay. And I'm talking to a gentleman that used to live in an ashram. I don't remember how many years he did, and did a lot of meditation, a lot of learning from another type of spiritual teaching. And what he learned is, Tammy, we live out in this lifetime other things that we did to other people in other lifetimes. And I'm like, oh, no, that can't be me. Why would I abuse a child in a different lifetime? And in my soul's journey, which some people call Akasha. Now, this is interesting because I didn't know I was even going to go here. So I'm really being guided to share this. So in our soul's journey, we have lived many different lifetimes. Not always are we in human form. That's my experience. Take what you will with a grain of salt if that's what you need. And when he first told me that, I was really offended. Yet, over the last 3 years of this deep, deep dive work, because I am here, I am committed to healing every aspect that I can in this lifetime, every instance or whatever that where I may have been the perpetrator. Now you look at me and you're like, You, Tammy? No way could you be a perpetrator. But see, sometimes we get stuck in this triangle of, or other people try to pull us into it, which is exactly what happened over the last 10 days. There was an attempt, unconsciously probably, of someone that birthed me that was living in this triangle of victim, savior, perpetrator. So when we want to save people, when we want to save the world, that means there's victims out there. Lordy, lordy. Girlfriends, that's how I used to be. Thought I had to save everybody. So I dig into that. Where's that coming from? And because I have found out in other lifetimes, I was a perpetrator. Not to go into the story of all those different things. It was shocking to me. It was shocking to me of finding those aspects of me. And those aspects of me also were afraid to be seen because they thought I would judge them. They thought I would judge them. So let's bring this to real life right here. How many times does somebody, or even yourself, something comes up and you want to share it with somebody, but you're so afraid, or these other people are so afraid to tell you because they're so afraid of being judged, ridiculed, discarded. So I'm just going to say it. So when I got pulled into this, a lot of stuff has happened within my immediate family, from my mom and my sister, and we may have family members that don't want to even look at their stuff. But when they don't want to look at their stuff, they try to pull us into their stuff. So we have to be diligent. I highly encourage all of us to be diligent on what we are doing with our family members and how they are relating to us. So now I just thought, oh my gosh, my mom could be watching this. That actually can take me out, because this is live on YouTube. And I actually put it on my Facebook page, on my personal page. So see right there, that can take me out of truly being full truth, fully here with you all. That could but I'm not going to allow that, because I'm here to be truth with you. My truth right now in the moment as I see it. I could have actually veered off into another story. I'm just really looking at this right now with you, because I don't know who's watching from YouTube, because I'm in StreamYard. So, okay. But the things that came up this last week literally triggered me. An abandonment, being discarded, seeing my mom playing the victim. I saw where I actually got sucked into that a little bit, and then caught myself when I was driving home, like, oh shit, being slimed. So how do we correct if we have been slimed, if we notice we've been slimed? One of the things you can do in the moment, as soon as you realize you've been slimed, you just Like, feel that energy? Ugh, right? Ugh. It's gross. It's gross energy when you feel like you've been slimed, and it's like, oh, that's disgusting. It's ugh. Oh, is yeah, okay. I'm just remembering when I was driving home, I'm like, fuck, I was slimed. Ugh, gross. And I just like return to sender. And I'm thinking about like, and I could just see like these coats, like literally jackets, coats coming off of me of slime. And I'm just returning it, returning it. So, so we all chose our mother. There is a belief that we chose the parents we would come into this earth. And I'm one of those believers of that philosophy. So I also look like, why did I choose the mother I chose? When I have grown up never feeling loved, I have felt extreme abandonment more than once, discarded. That was a big word that came up actually in the last 48 hours. Discarded. Only good enough when you have to, when it's convenient for you. Like all of this stuff, it just felt like was piling on me. And we're supposed to be good. We're supposed to be grateful for our triggers, right? Grateful for our triggers that show up. So, because that shows us where we need to process, that shows us where we require to go into to heal ourselves. That's what part of the triggers are, girls. I can smile about that right now, but last week I could not smile. I could not, like, I didn't even know where my laughter was. Like it literally, and I'm still working through stuff. See, I can feel the emotion coming out, sharing this with you. Actually, for me, Joanne, it was discarded was um like put out to dry, like you don't matter. Not thrown under the bus. For me, it was, you know how a lot of us older, like people older than me, actually, my mother-in-law grew up like this. She told me like they went to an aunt's house on her mama's side, and the kids were to sit still, not talk, don't do anything, don't be seen, don't be heard, don't move, don't get anything dirty. It's like discard it. You don't matter to me until I need you. Never ever knowing, and making my older sister who's got Alzheimer's and dementia that's starting to get a little aggressive, and making her the scapegoat. Thank you, that's the word, making her the scapegoat. Making a person the scapegoat that cannot defend themselves. That fucking triggered me big time. It's still a little in there. So, ladies, no matter how much we've done our work, no matter how much healing we've gone through, we still require, in my opinion, those people, those mentors, those coaches, those guides, those people that can guide us out of that. Because I tried everything, everything that I could remember to do, everything I could remember to do, because I couldn't remember all my tools. Because these feelings were so profoundly strong. Even though I was able to stay in this, I could feel this love within me, like in my heart space, because I know this practice, and I'm here to remind us all to to breathe into our heart, to breathe into our heart, even if our heart is breaking and aching. Breathe into that heart, And imagine a rose being in that heart space. And then with each one of those feelings, each one of those, like that abandonment, take that abandonment. Since you mentioned it, Joanne, take that abandonment. So let's just do this for a moment. Let's just take a deep breath. And if you can, take your eyes, like go behind your eyes. When I'm saying that, it's like, okay, so look within yourself. Look within yourself. And take your eyes, like if you have to get in an elevator, that's okay. And go within yourself and go down, down, down into your heart, into your actual physical heart. And if you can, see a big rose there. And as you breathe in, and as you breathe in, I breathe in life force energy. I breathe in life force energy. Feeling my heart, infusing my blood, filling my lungs. I breathe in pure life force energy, filling my heart, infusing my blood, filling my lungs. Allow your body to just relax. See, now we're relaxing the nervous system. I breathe in pure life force energy, filling my heart, infusing my blood, filling up my womb space. Taking that life force energy into our womb space, where so much has been hidden. I breathe in pure life force energy, feeling my womb space, infusing my cells, feeling my heart. I breathe in pure life force energy. Now, this life force energy, you can see it as white energy, like pure white. It's almost see-through, or sometimes I actually see it with golden sparkles in it. Like Tinkerbell has just magical sparkles within this life force energy. As I breathe this life force energy in, infusing my spine. Yes. Feeling my sacrum. Feeling my liver. I want to put life force energy into my liver. I breathe in life force energy into my liver. Filling my liver with life force energy. Filling my gallbladder with life force energy. I breathe in life force energy into my kidneys. I breathe it in and fill up my spleen. I breathe in this life force energy into my pancreas. I breathe in life force energy with every breath. With every breath. To see our organs hold emotion. Our organs hold emotion. Liver holds anger and resentment, rage. How many people literally have that, yet have never expressed it, been too afraid to, don't know how to? Lungs hold grief. Grief that's never been mourned. Yes. I breathe in life force energy. This literally opens up our cells, opens up our organs to start to allow all those emotions, whether it be abandonment, whether it be being discarded, whether it be not feeling loved, not good enough. Because when we realize these things about ourselves and we're willing to do the work and we're willing to go into our Akasha, actually what I call it our soul's journey. I feel like it's a bigger, where has my soul journeyed, right? It's a bigger compass of what wants to be cleared, what wants to be seen and heard. Right? And when we can go find those ways of where those aspects of us that are scared, like those aspects of me that I found in other lifetimes that were the perpetrator, yes, or initially when I found them. Now this is not for the faint of heart. And I did this work with a group of women that I came to learn to trust. I was thinking I would get kicked out of the group because I've been kicked out of groups before. Because when I invest in me, invest in a teacher, invest in time, finances, I am 100%, 1,000%, and not all people can handle that. Not all people can handle that. Too bad I learned that the hard way. So I've literally have been kicked out. Or when I have stopped being in a group, I've had a teacher just tear me to pieces and with his words, to literally to the point of putting a fracture in my spiritual foundation. Again, I had to reach out for help to heal that. Because I didn't know that. I didn't know what his words, like he was vicious. And with his words. To the point to where it made me question myself. So when we have these things that we allow to determine who we are, and then we see a bigger picture, and we realize that we were just playing a small part, that story is now over. Sometimes when this is with family, we literally have to say no more, like no more even being around them. I remember there was 2 years I would not have anything to do with my dad. Wouldn't go around him, wouldn't invite him to anything because of things that we were working through or I was working through. I was working through that I was working through. And there are times, and give yourself this permission. If you're working through something, darlings, and you can't be around that person until you are in a good space, let it be okay. Just because they're your parents, just because they're a sister or a brother, doesn't mean you have to give up your space in order to make them happy, in order to make everything smooth. You can say no more. You can say no more, and you can say, I don't approve of how you're doing things. I don't approve of how you're living. You're not speaking your truth. You're literally lying, but you're acting like you don't. You have to allow yourself. We must start to allow ourselves to say no more and be fully free in that and not do things out of agenda or guilt or shame. But what if I don't go see my mom? That's not my problem. That's not my problem. Girls, it's not your problem. But she's my mother. It's not your fault. They are who they are. It's not your fault they live how they live. It's not your fault, and you're not here to save them. You know, the biggest thing that you can do, literally, is heal yourself. Because do you know that as you heal yourself, you're healing over 12 generations before you and 12 after you? So think about that. If you have to give up being around a family member, especially a parent or a sibling, usually somebody beyond that is easier, right? Even a grandparent. I had a client. We worked together about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and she stayed away from her great grandmother, who was very, in this lifetime, very not nice, very, very not nice. And she couldn't understand it. So as soon as her great grandmother passed away, we did a session together. And in that session, we literally went into her mother line and we went into grandma. Grandma actually came forth, and her great grandmother came forth and actually shared the story of why she was the way she was. Now, did it take away all the pain with my client? Not everything, but it gave her a bit of understanding of why her great grandmother was like that. Because her great grandmother was severely abused. And the only way she could protect herself in this lifetime, she thought, was to be mean and despondent. The meaner she was, the more people would stay away from her. And she created that. She got that. She thought she was going to be hurt again because she never healed that 3 to 4 year old girl inside of her that was like severely, traumatically abused. And there are many, many, many people that either have not, even won't have not or won't go there to heal that kind of stuff. Both my mother and father are perfect examples of that. Both my sisters are. I'm the change maker. I make shift happen from the inside out. And doing these one-on-one sessions with ladies, phenomenal, phenomenal work. Seeing them rise up out of their grief, up out of their abandonment, up out of those layers that's keeping them held back. Just glorious, glorious work. So know that you have permission. You have permission to say no more, to stay away from other family members if that's what it takes. So breathing in this life force energy as we did, breathing it in. Now, I was in such a place and space that I did that, and I still needed a deeper help. I still needed even more. And that's when I reach out to people. So I implore you to reach out to people. Don't think you have to do this all on your own. So Joanne says that always willing to do the work. That is the journey, especially at this time in my life. Yes, the group is powerful and so appreciated. I believe, oh, she's talking about this teacher I had. I believe he was vicious because your expression, words, behavior scared the bejeebies out of him. He didn't know what to do about the feelings that were coming up for him. Yeah. I have found out in retrospect that I've had different teachers that actually wanted to have control over me because they could see my greatness before I ever could. And yeah, those are different times, that's for sure. So as we walk through this really incredible times with some really dense energies around us, let's be honest, there's some really dense energies around us, and we might not know how to traverse through them, travel with them. So I want you to write down, in case you need it, I want you to write down a list of your tools. What are some of your tools that you can do? Reclaiming your name. What are some of the tools you can do that when you're in that state of mind where you can't think of anything to do because you're so racked with this old memory that comes up and takes effect? When you start to see narcissistic tendencies that you've never seen before, when you start to see things about your family members, your mother and father even, that you never, maybe never allowed yourself to see before because it's so shocking, or you don't want to believe it, or even about yourself, even about yourself. I've had those moments where I'm like, no, I didn't do that back in that life. And it's just like, okay, yes. Does she want to heal? Does she want to change? Yes. Does she want to be seen? She's scared to be seen. How many times are you scared to be seen? Because you don't think somebody will accept you. You think they'll turn their back on you and walk away. It's scary, right? It's really scary. So think about all those other beings, all those other people, all those aspects of you that are wanting to come home. that they think they might have did something wrong, but they're afraid. They're afraid that you might turn your back on them. They're afraid that you might judge that aspect of yourself. So when we have that when we breathe into our heart space and we can have that heart, that rose within our heart. I learned this from somebody, and it's one of my greatest tools. And when I know this doesn't work, I know it's time to, like, okay, there's something else here I can't touch. But you have that rose within your heart. And it's like you're fertilizing that rose within your heart with all these emotions, with all these feelings that do not support you. Not anymore. I had somebody tell me one time that they never let themselves get too happy because the opposite attracts. Because they didn't want to get too sad. So they tried to stay neutral as much as possible. I'm like, really, dude? You're a counselor. And I'm just like, so how is that living life? How is that living life by staying neutral and not dealing with when you go dip into those sad? I can't even imagine never ever feeling extreme joy, euphoria. Hmm. There's been a new energy around me since I turned 60, May 21 this year. Don't know what it quite is, honestly. Don't know what it quite is, except for the fact that my whole system, my spirit, my soul, my essence is, because it knows I'm ready. It's really bringing up the deeper stuff. You know, something I never realized before, just since I turned 60, really, is the word trauma has really been coming up in my life a lot lately. And that people are talking to me about their trauma, and or just mentioning the word trauma. And it made me stop and think. Because, see, we really got to recognize this about ourselves. We need to recognize this. So I was looking back in my lifetime, of this lifetime, and really realized that there's been some very traumatic instances. Like almost all of my childhood. Okay, no, cancel that. There's been more in my childhood that's been trauma filled, that has been traumatic. But because it's been so glossed over, and because it wasn't like actual life threatening, physical life threatening, even though it emotionally and mentally, yes, spiritually, yes. But because of these things being glossed over and nobody ever speaking about it, just like, oh my gosh. So that just gave me another way to look at things, another area to clear and heal and to look at is Wow. I really got some trauma stuff in me. So what words, and I'm sharing this because like what words are coming up that are kind of new for you that maybe you've never thought of this word or associated a word with you? One I never associated was trauma. And then I could feel there's a part of me that was not wanting to go there, not feeling she could until now, never feeling supported before until now. I breathe in pure life force energy. I breathe in pure life force energy, filling my skin, infusing my blood, filling my lungs. I believe in you. I believe in you. It's time, women. It's time for us to look at those things that scare us. Look at those things within us. We might not know how to name it, claim it, work with it. Then reach out to somebody that can help you. I breathe in pure life force energy into the synapses of my brain. Right? I breathe in pure life force energy. I breathe in pure life force energy into my brain. Into the wiring of my brain. Mm-hmm. I breathe in pure life force energy. Keep breathing that in, darlings. Joanne says, I've been rereading the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Zinger, which I'm just realizing might be a good suggestion for others as well. Ties into this topic. Oh, Joanne, can you actually post that in our Facebook group, Ignite Your Joyful Heart? And I'd like to know, like, what's a quote from there that really speaks to you? And maybe a picture of his book. That would be wonderful. That way I remember to check it out. The Untethered Soul. I breathe in life force energy.